Hi all, Les from FutureFX. Just going through all the settings for Cost Averager. It's had quite a few updates over the last couple of months, and as of the 4th of August, this will be the most recent settings video. Alrighty guys, let's just quickly go through the display that it gives us. There will be some changes since the what you're already used to. We've always had the 3 different time frame trends up here. Writing turns green when they all line up. All 3 lining up is a requirement for a trade to be taken out. Down the bottom left-hand corner, we have the ADR. That's the average daily range. In this case, over the last 20 days. That's a variable you can change. And it also shows the highest daily range over the last 20 and how much movement there's been today already. So we can see that the average daily range is just under 200, but the highest is over 500. So there's a big difference. There was obviously one day at least that was much larger than the average daily range. The software does use the average daily range as part of its calculation. The highest daily range and today's range are just there for your own benefit so you can see what's going on. We have the daily target. It's set to $50, and this will just count down from 50 down to 0 as you make profit. Once it gets to 0, writing will come up here saying target hit in red writing, and there'll be no more trading. All the trades will be closed and no more trading for that day. It is possible to start it again by reloading the software onto the chart, but other than that, that's the end of trading for the day. And floating, that's just going to keep a track of the current floating profit or loss that trades on this particular chart have at the moment. And you can see we don't have any trades, so the floating is 0. If your trades are in profit, that'll be a positive figure. If they're in a loss, that'll be a negative figure. The target will also vary depending on your floating. The target is going to count down from 50, but it's going to be based off your equity. So if you have trades in profit, this will go down, even if the trades haven't closed. If you have trades in drawdown, then this figure is going to show as more than 50. Up in the top right-hand corner, we have a display recommending a lot size to use. It's going to recommend this lot size based off your settings. And if you use this lot size and the software were to open up 4 trades on this one pair, that would give you roughly a 1% drawdown. Now, this isn't 100% accurate because there are a lot of variables in play. And one variable at the moment, which is the volume multiplier feature, isn't factored in. So if you're using the larger volume multiplier you're using, if you're using it, then the smaller lot size you should use. But this is just a good reference. It's going to calculate the actual price on this particular pair. It's going to factor in, how volatile it is off the average daily range, and it's going to give you a lot size based off your account balance that you should use to incur 1% drawdown with 4 trades open. Okay, let's open up all the settings now. I'm going to go through every single setting here. Some of them I'll just touch on briefly because they're very obvious. Others will have separate videos explaining them in more detail as well. This will just be a good overview of all the settings. Input license, you'll have to put in your activation key there as per the downloading and installing videos and videos showing you how to do that. Input max trades. This is the maximum number of trades that you can have open on one pair at any one time. Okay, so you'll be able to have 5 open on just this one pair. Trailing stop loss. You can set a trailing stop loss. You just type in points, whatever you may want to do. If you want to have it 200 points, which is 20 pips, then you just type in 200. Trail start level. You can select which level you want the trailing stop loss to start with. So if I've got it set at 3, then it's not going to work on the first trade and the second trade that it opens on one pair, but it will on the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, etc. You can set that at 1. So it will start on the first trade. So then it's going to be working on all the trades. Trade gap in points. If you want to manually set the distance between your trades, type that in there as a point value. So if you wanted the trades to start at 20 pips apart, you would type in 200. This is what I mostly use though, is the auto trade gap factor. And I just either leave it on the default of 1.4 or, you can go higher or lower, but that's the default. And so what it's going to do is it's going to use the average daily range to calculate the distance apart for the first 2 trades. Trade gap in dollars. That's a very old setting that is still there, but not really ever being used. I may remove that altogether in a future version. That's if you wanted to type in the dollar distance between the trades. But most likely you won't want to worry about that one. Trade gap multiplier. Okay, so you're either using a manual input here or it's automatically calculating it off the average daily range. That'll calculate the distance between the first 2 trades. The trade gap multiplier, if you set that at 1, then all the trades will be exactly equidistant apart. If you increase the size of this, it's going to slowly increase the distance apart between the trades. So if this one was the first 2 trades with 100 points apart, then the second and third trade will be 110 points apart, multiplied by 1.1. And then the next one will be times 1.1 further and further and further apart. That's simply to allow more market movement with less drawdown. And the gap multiplier start level, you can just select a level for the multiplier to start at. So you might want to keep the first 3 trades close together and then start to increase the distance between them. You can choose that where that happens at with this multiplier here. Input minimum profit. Okay, this is the amount of profit that the software is going to aim for each trade or each trade group. All right, so it's always a bit of a point of contention as to what you should use here. So I'm going to go through this in a little more detail right now. What minimum profit you're going to input and aim for is going to depend on what sort of a strategy you are using the software for. My main strategy that I use, I tend to aim for very small profit all the time. Now, by small profit, I mean, and it's going to, what you want to try and remember is the lot size, the input volume, and the input minimum profit. The ratio between them is going to be important. So, for example, on a $1,400 trading account, I would tend to aim for an $8 minimum profit, and I would be using about 0.1 lot size. All right, so the software is going to give you the recommended lot size to use. And if you aim for about $5 per $10,000 account balance, and here I'm just talking US dollars. So if you have a 10,000 US dollar trading account, I would put an input minimum profit of 5. And then for the input volume, the lot size, I would use whatever is recommended on the chart. Now, of course, there are other ideas, other strategies. I'm just sharing what I use. So use $5 per $10,000 account balance. So if you had a $2,000 balance, you would just use $1. And anything less than a $2,000 account balance, you can choose to use $1, or you can go a bit lower still if you like. I know quite a few people recently have started with the $1,000 account balance, and we just stuck with $1 as well. But that's roughly how that works. And the minimum profit multiplier. Now, there will probably be another video on this as well, but if you leave it at 0, or if you have it on 1, then every trade or every trade group will aim for $1 profit. Let's put that up to $5 because that's, my account balance is $1,500, so we should make it about, we'll make it $8. So with the minimum profit multiplier, if you leave it on the default of 0, meaning you're not using it, or it's on 1, then you're going to be aiming for $8 every trade or every trade group. What I mean by trade group is if there's only one trade open on this chart, it's going to aim for $8 profit. If there are 2 trades open on this chart, it's going to aim for a combined profit of $8 for both of them together. So one will only end up being either break even or small profit or loss, and the other one will be in the profit. If there are 3 trades open, then the net profit of those 3 trades needs to be $8 for them to close out. One of the main strategies I use is I put this on 1.5. So if there's only 1 trade open, it's going to aim for $8 profit. If there are 2 trades open, it's going to be aiming for 8 times 1.5. So it's going to be aiming for $12 profit. If there are 3 trades open, it's going to be aiming for that $12 times 1.5. So 3 trades will be aiming for $18 profit. And I think that makes sense. The input maximum loss. Nobody wants to take a loss, but we do have to have a setting to minimize the loss in case something goes the wrong way on us. Now, unlike a lot of cost averaging softwares that require 20 or even 30 or more % equity protection, on this software, somewhere between 3 and 5% is quite adequate. Okay, so on my $1,500 account balance, this is equivalent to just over 3%. I think that's right. Let me quickly add up. Yeah, so 450 minus, got to be minus 450 would be a 3% equity protection. So if the trades on this one particular pair got into $450 of drawdown, it would close those trades and you would incur that 3% loss. Okay, so keep that in mind. That is only for that one particular pair, this pair in this case. If you are trading more than one pair, then you need to be aware that potentially it could be twice whatever you have set there. You can have one set differently to the other and all that if you wish. Input magic number. That's just how the software identifies trades it's taken out itself. You can change that number if you want. It simply won't make any difference to how the software operates. Input trade comment. It's just in the comment section of the trades. It's just going to say cost averager, so you know it's a trade that cost averager has taken out. Input volume. That is the the starting lot size. Right? And what you're going to put in here, if you're using the recommended lot size given up here, you just put that in here. It has to be only to 2 decimal places though. Okay, so you can't put in 0.068. You could just put 0.07 or 0.06. All right, I've just left the 3rd decimal place for you so it's accurate, and you can decide yourself whether you want to round up to 7 or round down to 6. Then we have a volume multiplier. So like the trade gap multiplier, we can choose to slowly increase the size of the trade. So in this case, we have 0.1. The second trade would be 0.11 because 0.1 multiplied by 1.1. And so it's going to slowly increase the size of the trade. You can also select what level you want to start increasing the size of the trade. So you might decide you want the first 3 trades to stay the same and then for them to start getting bigger. So you can select the level there yourself. Maximum spread allowed. If the spread on that particular pair exceeds what is in here, then it won't trade. Okay, so it won't trade. It won't take out initial trades anyway. So 30 is the default setting. That will be suitable for almost all Forex pairs. Some exotic pairs, pound New Zealand dollar is the only one I'm using. I have 45 set for that, but that should suit almost all Forex pairs. Up here, this column here is the spread column. If you don't have that column, you can just select that from the settings. But some pairs like Euro USD, there's only a spread of 2 at the moment. So you could fine tune this, for Euro USD, depending on your broker. Every broker could be quite different. I could bring this one down to a lot less, 10. The idea is that if the spread increases due to volatility and broker manipulation or whatever, then it won't trade. So for example, this would never trade for the first hour of the market open because the spreads would exceed that. So that's all that's for. If you place a trade when the spread is excessive, it's simply going to suck all the potential profit out of the trade. The market's going to have to move a lot further in order to break even and then to make profit on top. So you don't want to take out any trades when the spread is excessive. All right, let's look at a few more settings. There's quite a few settings involved now. Mostly we're just using default settings though. But I wanted to have settings so that people could, use default settings, use it on a fully automated setup, or vary the settings to suit their own sort of strategy and manual knowledge. So we're up to start hour for trading. So we've got start hour for trading and start minute for trading. So generally, I would be looking to start 1 hour after market opens. So to do that, I would set the start hour at 1, start minute at 0. The times this is referring to is the market watch time. Okay, so trading each day starts at 0-100 hours. Basically, the spread for that first hour is going to be excessive anyway. So that's when we're going to start trading. End hour for trading, I like to set mine at 8, which at the moment, that is 2 hours before the Asian session ends. So basically 2 hours before the London session opens, more to the point. And for my main strategy, I like to try and get all the trades closed and finished before the London market opens, because that's when the volatility increases. I'm not saying you can't trade during London and New York, but you may want to have more conservative settings simply because there is always more volatility. So that's what start hour and end hour is all about. There are other videos explaining in more detail why that's my main strategy, and also other strategies and everything. But that's, for this video, is good enough. That's what they're for. That's when the software can start trading. This is when it will stop looking for initial trades. So after 8, it can still add extra cost averaging trades, but it won't be able to look for any new initial trades. 80-hour days, so you can just change that. That's just going to change the number of days that it's calculating the average daily range and the highest daily range from. I pretty much just leave mine on 20 all the time. Close all hour and close all minutes. Okay, so the main way I personally use the software is I let it start trading here. It'll stop looking for new trades there, and then it will close them out when it can reach the profit. If, however, it gets to around about 10 hours after market open, which is when London starts, I try to get out of these trades. And I'll generally do that manually, and maybe I'll close them out a little earlier. Maybe I'll let them run longer, depending on whether I think the market's going to continue in my favour or continue to go against me. So I'll make a manual decision there. If you want to fully automate it, then that's what the close all hour and close all minute feature's for. So at 10 hours after market open, that means that after it opens its last initial trade, it's going to have 2 full hours in order to open up any cost averaging trades needed and then close that group out as a profit, as it normally would. But if it can't do that within those 2 hours, then it's just going to close all open trades anyway. And that will generally incur some sort of a loss. And the idea of that is to get out of the market before the extra volatility of the London-New York session kicks in and to minimise a larger loss. But it's up to you whether you use that feature at all, and also up to you whether what you set it at exactly. After close all trail, that's a feature that's not developed yet. That's something that I'm looking at. So just ignore that altogether. That won't be in your version of the software. Max pairs. All right, so these last 3 settings, there will be much more detailed videos on how to use them, where and why, and all of that. But max pairs, that is just going to limit the software to trading on only 2 pairs at once. So you can set that at whatever you want. But, on this setting, it won't trade on more than 3 pairs at once. All right. Keep in mind, you should watch that more detailed video first, because you need to set these 3 pairs up correctly. Otherwise, you could end up with more than the 3 pairs trading, or in this case, 2 pairs trading at once. Correlated pairs. What you need to do here is just type in all the pairs that are correlated to the particular pair you're working on. I don't get too technical on this. I tend to just add any other pairs that I have the software on that share a common currency to this one. So if it's another GBP pair or another JPY pair, then I will put it in here. So, I would put in my AUD JPY. I would put in my USD JPY. If I had GBP USD, I think that makes sense. We do have in our chat group a screenshot of a Excel document going through, good pairs that you should start with. The software can work on pretty much anything. I have personally made money trading indices, crypto, gold, lots of different Forex pairs. I even had it running on coffee the other day and made some profit on that. So it can work on anything, but there are pairs that I prefer to use that through actual use and back testing have proven to be better than others. And so there are, those particular pairs are in a screenshot in our chat group. It'll be in a pinned message as well. And it will also tell you what the other correlated pairs you should put in there as well, if you're using those same pairs as in that picture. Pair priority. All right, so you can add either high, that's not how you spell high, medium, or low priority. So it all has to be in lowercase letters. And that's simply what it sounds like. It's going to give certain pairs priority over others. All right, so maybe there's already one pair trading, meaning because of this setting, there's one more gap for one more pair to trade. But there might be 3 pairs that you have the software on that are all in a good position to trade. So out of those 3 pairs, depending on what their priority is set at, one will have, priority to trade over another one. So if they're both ready to go, pair A is high priority, pair B is low priority. Pair A is going to get to take the trade out and pair B won't. But yeah, there is definitely a much more detailed video on those, which you should definitely watch before playing with them. Guys, what else? That's pretty much all the basic settings. On the common tab here, yeah, you need to have allow live trading checked. The other ones really don't matter. In something a lot of people don't know about EAs is that every EA, if you come to the common tab, you can turn off, only take out longs or buy orders, only shorts and sells, or you can do both. Generally, it's going to be on both, but if you had a look at a chart and you didn't want it to take out shorts, then you could just click it to only do longs, if you wanted to have a bit more of a manual say in what happens. On the About tab, about the only real exciting thing in here is telling you what version it is. And this is wrong because this is my developer version. But as of this video, the most recent version is 2.90. All right. That's it, guys. I hope that explained them in detail, but definitely watch any other videos that are in that playlist that comes when you purchase so that you can, get the detailed video on how to use this, other strategies to use, etc., etc. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Talk to you all again soon.